What was Rabbi Avraham Yeshua Heschel of Apta known for, and why does the severed Torah pointer, that is absolutely beautiful, why does that encapsulate that which he was known for?
So that's a wonderful example of how I wanted to use the objects to illustrate the person who owned the object. The Apta Rav, Rabbi Yeshua Heschel, he lived from 1750 to 1825, and he was known as the Ohev Yisrael. All he wanted written on his tombstone was that I was the Ohev Yisrael, I was the lover of the Jewish people, and that's how he lived his life. He lived his life. Every person has their own mitzvah that that they love and they cherish. His mitzvah, if you will, was to love every Jew, unconditional love, full love. But that was what animated him. He loved other Jews. And one time he said that in every parsha, every weekly Torah portion, the name of the portion alludes somehow, some way to the mitzvah, to the commandment of V'ahavta l'orecha kamecha, to love your neighbor as yourself. So that week it was the summer, and it was Parshas Balak, which happens to be my bar mitzvah parsha. Just a little bit of trivia for anyone that actually cares. But the parsha was Balak. So they said, okay, where is it alluded to in Balak? That's an easy one. The vase is V'ahavta, the lamed is l'reacha, and the kuf is kamecha. Perfect. So they said, but Rebbe, that's not the way you spell it. You spell V'ahavta with a vav, not a vase, and you spell kamecha with a chaf, not a kuf. So what are you saying? So he said, a famous retort, he said that if you're going to be so medactic with the ISIS, which means if you're going to be so looking to be a perfectionist, you're never going to come to Ahavas Yisrael. If you're looking to see other people in their most perfect state and you're expecting other people to be perfect, and otherwise you're not going to befriend them and you're not going to love them and you're not going to care about them because they don't meet your standards, that ain't going to fly. That's not the way you could do it. You can't be so particular with the ICs or the letters. So when I was able to find this Torah pointer, which was in the private collection, and we could talk about where I found a lot of these objects, but this particular one and a few others in the book was in the collection of an amazing collector. His name was Rabbi Avraham Halpern. He lived in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. He was an avid Judaica collector. I have never seen in any personal collection or any public collection anything remotely coming to to the toes of what this man had collected. Everyone, I guess, after the war or something, they all came to him from Europe, and they had all of their possessions, and he was known to be the one that would give you cash for it, I guess, and he just bought and bought and bought. And in his he died maybe 5 years ago, but in his apartment, or a second apartment that he kept just for his Judaica, was literally thousands and thousands of priceless Judaica objects. And one of the objects, we'll talk about maybe some of the others, but was the priceless Torah pointer that was owned by the Apta Rav. And what was fascinating is a beautiful ornate silver handle, the yad as they call it, and on the tip was the classical hand made of red coral stone. But what's the most interesting thing is that the finger of the Torah pointer of that hand is broken, it's severed. And I thought about that, like, what does that symbolize? Obviously you could say, well, it was just an accident, or maybe some, anti-Semite did it along the way or some, but like, what does it symbolize? What's that saying? And then I remembered this story that he was the one that said, if you're too medactic on the ISIS, if you're too intent on getting every little letter perfect, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to have the unconditional love that I want you to have. And so the broken finger, like, which is supposed to point to the letters of the Torah, it's as if it's saying, don't point too closely. Like, make sure to gloss over, not, God forbid, that you shouldn't lane perfectly, that you should, but in terms of our takeaway, don't look at the letters too perfectly. If you look at the letters too perfectly and too closely and you zoom in on them, you're going to find imperfections, and that's going to blow the entire mitzvah of loving your fellow Jew.